This is GLO's Black Forest Pie. Now this is another YouTube friend of mine who made this for Christmas, and as soon as I saw this, I knew I had to make it. It is such a pretty pie. The only thing I did different was I put the whipped cream around the pie, and she did it on an individual piece. I just said I want to just show it off. So right now, I'm going to take a little piece of it. I'm going to cut it, and then I'm going to come back and we'll taste it. Okay, here I cut a slice of it. Now I did this for a Valentine's dessert to show you. I thought maybe you might want to make it for someone for Valentine's Day. And you don't have to put the whipped cream on the whole pie. GLO didn't. I just wanted to because I was so excited about showing this pie off. I just wanted to make it look as pretty as I could. So let's taste it. This is so good. If you like cherries and chocolate, you'll love this. This is a perfect dessert to serve for Valentine's Day. Now this has a saltine cracker crust, but GLO also said you could do a pastry crust. But I've never done a saltine crust quite like this one, and it's really good. So I hope you all give this a try. And you can go over to GLO's channel, and I will leave her channel in my description. So I hope everyone has a wonderful Valentine's Day. And thank you so much for watching. Okay, these ingredients include the crust, the filling, and the topping. So we're going to have saltine crackers, butter, karo syrup, vanilla, 2 eggs, Hershey's cocoa, it doesn't have to be Hershey's, pie filling, which is cherry pie filling, sugar, milk, flour, and normally I use whipping cream from the carton and whip it myself, but here I'm using whipping cream in the can that you spray. So let's get started. All the amounts will be under the video in the description. So you want to melt 3/4 of a cup, which is a 1.5 sticks of butter, which is going to go in the crust. The other 1/4 of butter that you saw when I showed you the ingredients is going in the filling. While you're melting your butter, you want to put 1 sleeve and 1/2 sleeve in a food processor to grind these up fine, because this is going to be your crust. If you don't have a food processor, you can use the old-fashioned way of rolling it with a rolling pin inside wax paper or saran wrap. We're going to do 15 pulses. This is kind of what it's going to be like. Okay, now you want to pour a 1/4 cup of karo syrup in a 1 cup measuring cup, and then we're going to add our butter to that. Okay, once your butter is cooled a little bit, you're going to pour it in the crackers. Actually, I meant to do that with the, I meant to pour that in the same cup with the karo syrup, but I didn't. Anyway, it doesn't matter. You're going to mix this all together, approximately 15 pulses, but it could take longer, however long it takes to grind this together. So you don't have to do it in increments, pulse increments. You can do it any way you want. So here's the consistency of your saltine crust, and now we want to put it in your pie plate, and we're going to mash it down till it comes to the edges of the plate. And the best way to do this is with a glass, a cup, anything. And so I'm going to pat this down and bring it to the edge, and I'll come back when I'm finished. You can do this with your hands also, whatever works for you, but I'm going to use a cup, and you can use both your hands and a cup. This doesn't have to be perfect, but I have kind of learned on my own right here to do kind of this to make the edge kind of prettier. Now this is the first crust I've made that has saltine crackers with karo syrup, and it really holds it together really well. But if you just want to make it look prettier, you can take a spatula and go around the edges. Now you want to have your oven preset for 350 degrees. Here it is, it's all ready to go in the oven. Now this time is supposed to be about 12 minutes. GLO said it took her a couple of more minutes on a cold day, but I'm going to start with 11 minutes because I have a very hot gas oven, but we're just par baking it. So I'm going to go with 11 minutes to start. Okay, this took 12 minutes in my gas oven. You can see there's a little golden around the edges, but it's not overcooked because we're going to bake it in the oven after we fill it with the chocolate. So that looks good. Now we're going to do the chocolate pudding part. So you're going to put your sugar in, which is 3/4 cup of granulated sugar. You want to put your 1/3 cup of cocoa powder and 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. And what we're going to do is whisk this together first, all the dry ingredients, to get rid of any lumps that could be in the sugar or cocoa, but mainly in the cocoa. So after we get this done, we're going to put our 1/3 cup of whole milk in, and we're going to start cooking this on the stove for like 2 minutes on a medium heat. Okay, once you combine your dry ingredients, you're going to add a 1/3 cup of whole milk, and you're going to stir this around and put your burner on a medium heat. And you want to get this all combined. Okay, this is your chocolate after you added your milk and got it all combined. Now we're going to add a 1/4 cup or a 1/2 stick of butter. And we're going to cook this about 2 minutes until it starts to thicken after it melts. So we got to melt it and then let it thicken for about 2 minutes on medium heat. And you want to take your 2 eggs and beat these, because this will be going into the pudding mixture as well. We're going to temper it, add a little of the hot pudding, little by little, so that it reaches the temperature, the same temperature. So here the butter is almost melted. You see it bubbling a little. As soon as it's completely melted, we're going to take it off the stove. See how smooth and silky that is? Now you're going to take a little bit of the chocolate, it's hot, and you're going to put it in the egg and stir it immediately, whisking it as quickly as you can, vigorously, so it doesn't turn into scrambled eggs. And we're going to put more in here. This is tempering, where you bring it to a higher temp so you can put it back in the chocolate and cook it so it doesn't scramble before you get a chance to do that. And this is what it should look like, just like this. Okay, so once you temper the eggs, you can either do this gradually or all at once, because it's already been tempered, so you know you can add it back in. And this is off the stove, and just keep stirring it. And once you get that combined, you're going to add a little shy of a teaspoon of fresh vanilla, or real vanilla. Now we're going to add a 1/2 can of our cherry pie filling. Actually, let me use a spatula. So I'm eyeballing this. It doesn't have to be exact, but that's about a 1/2 can of cherries. You're going to just combine this all together, and then we're going to put it in our pie pan. Okay, here's our pie plate. Now we're going to put our chocolate pudding inside, our homemade chocolate pudding. It looks and smells so delicious. I can't wait to try this. So after you put this all the way in, you're going to put it in your preheated 350-degree oven. It can go anywhere from 25 to 35 minutes. And of course, there's a trick that GLO showed where the edges are going to be cooked more than the center. And you don't want the whole thing cooked like the edges, because then it won't be right. So this is going to be about 25 minutes, but I'm going to start with 20 in my gas oven. Okay, I baked this for about 25 minutes, and I'm going to show you what GLO was talking about. The edges are cooked more than the center, and it's kind of loose in the middle, and that's how it's supposed to be. She said not to cook it all where it's all like the edges, or it won't be cooked right. So I'm going to let this set. The edges are nice and crisp and golden, so it looks like I did things right so far. So I'm going to let this cool a while, a couple hours, and then we'll try it later. So basically the center will cook on its own after it's taken out of the oven, and it will all look like the edges when it's completely done. Okay, normally you put the cherries on first, but I didn't. But it's kind of nice because the cherries aren't going to go on the complete pie. So this kind of gives me something to work with a little more. And this is such a pretty, pretty pie, and I know it's going to be delicious. So I cooled this for 2 hours.